I found looking for work was really daunting. I didn't have any support. I felt that the jobs I was applying for were above me. Coming here has totally taken away all that negativity. Talking to the ladies really gave me that boost that I needed.
This is a safe place, no judgment, no nothing. Everybody's dedicated to look after you, from walking to the dress up to the sizing to the makeup.
It gives me the confidence to walk outside and my head's up high.
I feel more confident, actually, because I don't have to worry about my appearance when I prepare for my interview.
It's been life-changing for me. If I didn't have a stylist, I wouldn't have had not only the clothes but the confidence as well to really appreciate that I'm looking good and that I'm looking my best.
When I wear the clothes, I can think of the support that you gave to me.
When you feel supported by a network of amazing women, it's priceless.
It's hard asking for help at times, but it shouldn't be. When there's people who care, who are reaching out saying, come, we can help you, we've got everything that you need.
I'm so privileged to actually know that this existed.
It's a humbling thing when people are able to help us like that in our hour of need. But sometimes we have to be the ones to take that first step as well and say, hey, I've got an empty suitcase or an empty wardrobe or no shoes on my feet. And when we can do that, that's when even better things will start to come to us.
Melissa Collins, good afternoon. Welcome to the Impact Leaders webinar series. How are you?
Hi, Jeremy. I'm really well. Thank you so much for having me. What a beautiful introduction to that video.
It is very moving, and it really touches on your why as an organisation. And we've been privileged to be supporting Dress for Success for a number of years now. But no one better to hear it from than yourself. Can you please share, what does Dress for Success do?
Our vision at Dress for Success is a world where women thrive in work and in life. And our purpose, I guess, is empowering women towards economic independence by supporting unemployed and underemployed women back into the workforce. And we do that by getting them job ready, mostly through their clothing, making sure that they feel good and appear confident and job ready. And can go into interviews and to start their new jobs feeling and looking the part.
Could you dive into that a little further? Because we're so privileged to meet extraordinary people running extraordinary organisations such as yourself and Dress for Success, and often highlighting issues which are largely appear in the shadows. People are not mostly aware, because when a woman will come well dressed and well presented and giving her literally that best foot forward, they will probably never know that she may have been dressed by Dress for Success and the true reality of her lived experience. Can you share how prevalent this is for women? There is a cost of living crisis currently, and how many women perhaps you are assisting on a monthly basis?
We support about 2,500 women a year to be job ready. And I think you raise a really beautiful point, which is you don't ever really know what is happening in somebody else's life or what's happening in somebody else's home. So we meet women all the time who people feel have got their lives worked out and they don't have barriers in front of them, but it's really quite extraordinary. Obviously, the cost of living crisis, increased rent and challenges accessing housing, but also the surge of family violence and the impact that has on people. And I often think that we're really only one step or one lucky break or one bad breakup or one lost job or one chronic illness or injury from finding ourselves in some pretty difficult and challenging circumstances. So if I look at the women that we support, more than half of them have got tertiary qualifications, which I think is something that really surprises people. But 20% identify as having a disability, 34% are single parents. So it's a very wide range of issues and challenges that women in particular can face, because we know about the economic inequality that women face in terms of the gap in real wages, but also the breaks that women have throughout their career, and the impact that being married and having children can have as well.
And I think this, of course, raises a really critical point, the extent to which, you know, we make those snap judgments based on how people look. And there's enough systemic barriers for women, let alone her not being dressed, quote unquote, appropriately, or giving her the best chance of getting that job by not having clothing that's going to support that particular position. It's really, it sort of goes to the heart of, I think, what makes us human, which is our sense of identity, our sense of pride, and the extent that that can be stripped away by a circumstance out of our control that might take away that very ability for us to present ourselves in the best possible way.
And with that goes your confidence as well.
100%, yeah. Could you share with us, Melissa, a story, keeping perhaps, you know, anonymizing a name, but a story that's perhaps touched you recently?
I actually met a woman just last week, actually, who is going to do some media work for us over the coming year, who is a former client of ours. Highly skilled professional woman who was at home raising her children, and her husband left when her baby was 3 weeks old. So she had 4 children at home and a 3-week-old baby. So by the time she came to us, she just had a chunk of time out of the workplace and lacked the confidence or the capacity to be able to secure the wardrobe that she needed. So she came to us and we supported her in seeking employment. And I met her, I think it's 5 years ago. She came in a few weeks ago to drop off some clothes from her corporate job that she thought might go to women who were really in need of it. And to see her, she's now got a fabulous job, a really actually very interesting job in the city, and is living her very best life. And I think just giving her the wardrobe and the confidence, and we're not just about clothing either. So we run a full career support program and coaching services. So we help women to get their resume up to date, to prepare for interviews, to get their interview skills and answers up and ready to go, and then support them through their employment as well. So we do all sorts of training programs about issues and situations and circumstances that they can face in the workforce. So I think this woman has found her feet and found her place, and is very committed to giving back to others who find themselves in a similar situation, which is beautiful.
So inspiring. What inspired you to work for Dress for Success? What's your history in this sector?
Yeah, I'm relatively new to the sector. I've been in the sector for 5 years. I had a very long corporate career, mostly in banking and finance. And I started doing some volunteer work in another community services organisation. And I was there for 4.5 years as general manager. And Dress for Success, I've been a long fan of. I knew of Dress for Success when I worked in banking. But I am completely passionate about the fact that it is a volunteer-led organisation, that it is women supporting and empowering women, and that it really is. In my previous organisation, we supported young people on employment pathways, and to see the difference that having economic stability, to being able to tell people that you have a job and that you play a part in the economy, to be able to make the decisions that you need to make in your life, is just a profound thing. So anything that I can do to support women to do that, it's pretty much my dream job.
There are other organisations that do similar but different work. One that comes to mind is Thread Together, which is another partner of ours who's providing clothing to a whole variety. There isn't a specific focus on women, although of course what Dress for Success does is unique in its focus on women. Could you share perhaps some of what, a little deeper dive into the methodology and the impact that Dress for Success uniquely has?
I think the difference between us and other organisations is our styling services. So what happens is we're not just providing clothes. We have women who come in to see us. They're referred by referral agencies, or sometimes they're brave enough to contact us directly. We work with women that are being supported by refugee agencies or disability support agencies. Women's refuges for women escaping family violence. They come to us and they actually are allocated a stylist who works with them one-on-one, and they get a whole hour. And it is the most amazingly transformational thing, because they can come in quite uncertain and unsettled and not sure what to expect. And they have a beautiful woman. I love that all of our client-facing work is done by volunteers, and these women take the time to sit with these women to understand what it is, the job that they're going for, what their personal preferences are around style and clothing, and colour and shape, and what kind of items they like. And they actually spend that time with them one-on-one for an hour. And it really does. You see the women beforehand and you see the women at the end. And I spent some time with a woman a few weeks ago who's just got a job. So they get one outfit from top to toe, including jewellery, underwear if they need it, shoes, handbags, for that first interview. And if they get the job, they come back and we give them a week's capsule wardrobe. And again, that's personally chosen for them based on their personal preferences. And I was talking to a woman who'd just gotten her first job in many, many years, and she came out and she looked absolutely stunning. She'd chosen very, very well, and she just looked at me and she said, "They're really going to believe me." And I said, "They are absolutely going to believe you." And just having another woman support and nurture and encourage, I think, does wonders for a woman's confidence when she's trying to find her feet.
Yeah.
And then I think the wraparound services, and it's not a linear relationship. You come in, you get those two services, you get on with your life. If you don't succeed in getting that job, or if that job doesn't work out, you can always come back. You can tap into our online or our workshops for anything that you might need forever, if that's what you need. So I think it's a relationship based. We do try to provide the same stylist if you're returning, but it's about that one-on-one relationship I think you have with people.
Yeah, so wonderful. How
It
would you
really
say
is.
the organisation has evolved recently, and what are some of the unique challenges and opportunities that unique to your work moving forward?
So we have been through an amazing change just in the last few months. We've been very, very lucky to be able to. We've got 3 locations. I should have said that sooner. One in the inner west of Sydney in Summerhill, one in the Illawarra, and one in the Newcastle Hunter. And all 3 have had the opportunity to move into purpose fit out new sites and showrooms over the last few weeks. Newcastle are actually opening their premises to the public for the very first time today. So we've actually got bespoke, intentional spaces now, which has really transformed the experience for not just our clients, but for our volunteers as well. I think we're still on a journey of transitioning out of COVID, which, because obviously for an organisation like us, that was a very profound change, as it was right across community services. And we had to really pivot to how we dealt with people. But we're starting to reopen up and do more things face to face, which it's been a wonder to have access to technology and streaming services, but actually being able to have a conversation with one person one-on-one is profound. I think coupled with that, and kind of opposite to that, is we're doing more and more work with remote and regional women as well. So we've got partnerships right across the state and the ACT with employment referral agencies. We can work with women right around the state in providing them with workshops to get them job ready, but also being able to send them the clothes that they need to get them into their first interview. So there's been a lot of change, but a lot of opportunities with all of those changes into the future, I think.
Are you seeing, to what extent, the cost of living crisis for many Australians creating exponential demand for your work?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think if you're looking at quote unquote vulnerable women, it's even more profound. The very vicarious access to housing, if you have to make decisions between feeding your children and getting them to the doctor and paying the rent and doing all of those kind of things, you can put yourself further behind and back. So I think the need for women to access supports that are, you know, would potentially be considered as non-essential, but we can support them in that because they are essential. How you look and how you feel and how you present to the outside world makes a world of difference. So yeah, I think we will continue to see an increased demand for our services.
Can I ask, where does your passion for this work come from? We often find for impact leaders, there was a moment or a series of moments that sort of galvanized a clear sense of purpose.
Yeah.
I appreciate you come from the corporate sector, but was there sort of a transition point where you're like, I can't do this
Oh,
anymore?
there was. There was. I was working for a bank during a royal commission, Jeremy. That'll do
there
it
you
for
go.
you.
That'll do it for you.
No, I think what happened was I became a mum and I became increasingly aware and cognizant of my own privilege. And I wanted my daughter to be really proud of me and to see that I was doing important things. And I went to name my previous organisation, the Wayside Chapel, and was kind of embraced by this community that kind of took me and my daughter in and showed us that there is more to life, and the sense of community, which I think is very similar at Dress for Success, that it takes everybody doing their part to make a community thrive. And I saw this. My daughter was only 1, and to see her welcomed into this community and automatically have a sense of people being people, and not she doesn't judge. She doesn't know that a number of her friends are homeless or in kind of social housing. She's not got a sense of that. She's got a sense of her friends and their bad jokes and their dad jokes. So I think for me, Dress for Success was a logical progression for that, to say that it's still an organisation which is about community. It's about seeing people as people and seeing their potential and not their vulnerabilities or their challenges, and really allowing and empowering people to be the best they can be. So I feel pretty confident that I've made good choices. I haven't missed my corporate career. I missed the air conditioning this week, I won't lie. The air conditioning is definitely better in corporate, but other than that, I haven't missed it for a minute. And I'm eternally grateful to have made the shift.
Well, apparently the 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. So it sounds like there might have been a pivotal moment in that second realization recently for you. What I also love about this sector is, alongside the passion and the expertise, is the way in which the not-for-profit sector is both open to and reliant on partnerships to scale. And especially in the corporate sector, there's been over recent years a growing sense of how can these organizations, how can these different sectors that have often worked very much in their silos, and you would have perhaps, I'm sure, seen that in corporate, where it's like there's a for-profit world with their language, there's a not-for-profit world with their language, and there's different metrics for success, of course. And one thing we always believe, and indeed are doing at I Could Change, is how can we bridge these 2 worlds? And how important are partnerships for Dress for Success?
Oh, they're incredibly important. They really are. And I think they're incredibly important for a whole range of reasons. But to me, it's interesting that you framed it up that way, because I started volunteering for a not-for-profit as a corporate person. And for me, I've never lost sense. I sit on the board of another charity. I've never lost sense that if these organisations reached out to corporate and asked for practical support, to say to the marketing team, we've got a wicked marketing problem and we don't know how to solve it, that organisations would relish the opportunity to use those incredibly smart brains to solve different challenges. So I think there's just incredibly untapped potential there. And I know for myself, sitting in in a corporate office in the middle of a Royal Commission having to do an hour-long Zoom meeting on supporting an organisation through change was pretty profound. And I think we need to actively find opportunities for people who work in different walks of life to get that inspiration that you can get from walking alongside people who have different life experiences to you. And I think that you get a much better sense of the richness of the world and the richness of other people. And you start to see, as I keep saying, a bit broken record, you see people as people. But we are grateful for corporate partnerships for a whole raft of reasons. One is financially, undoubtedly. We're an organisation that needs to raise funds to survive. But we get lots of practical support from some of our corporate partners. So they will run workshops for our women in their areas of expertise. We've got some who will come and help some of our retail partners will work with some of our stylists on how, fashion trends and how to get the best outcomes for women. We've got people who'll come and do makeup workshops. There are all sorts of opportunities, I think, and they offer great opportunities to kind of change the world, to be honest, as well. If you're exposed to those kind of opportunities, it does wonders for employee engagement for big corporate partners and for partners, but it also changes lives by people seeing people and being seen by people that they wouldn't otherwise come into contact with.
And our partnership together has raised now over $88,000 accounted for Dress for Success, which has been raised $1 at a time. It sort of shows the power of e-commerce and capturing the small micro donations that add up from businesses committed to helping empower women and girls. Can you share what impact does funding like that create for Dress for Success and for the people you serve?
I am so grateful for every one of those $88,000 and the organisations and the companies that have chosen us to be one of the recipients for that money. I think just the steady stream of income makes a profound difference for us. With the one of the great joys and thrills and challenges of working in not-for-profit is never knowing where that funding is going to come from. So just having a steady stream of money that really does empower us and give us comfort that we can continue to deliver our services. So I'm eternally grateful to you as an organisation, but to also the retail partners that have chosen us to be the recipients and beneficiaries of that.
How else could Change Businesses help?
Talking about their support for Dress for Success, I think, talking about the impact that they're having, the choice that they've made, the work that we do. I would love to talk to some of them. I'm quite new in role. I don't know that I've said that yet, but I think it's week 6, Jeremy. So I'm quite new, but I have Oh, thank you. I love it. I feel like I've been here forever. It was meant to be. But I'm very keen to talk to some of them as well about how we can look for other ways to partner together. Because I think, as I say, that I talk always about mutually beneficial relationships. So it's wonderful that they're funding us and giving us that money. But what can we do to support them and to support their employees as well to feel the impact of that work? So, but just talking to your customers, for the partners that are on the call today, talking about the work that we do and how important it is and how valuable that contribution is would be great.
And what keeps you going now? You've made the leap into this world. What do you now look forward to each day?
Not the air conditioning. I would say I have very, very carefully chosen the community organisations that I've worked for that the work that we do is on site. So I'm not in an office in a city, completely in a city office block with great air conditioning, quite removed from the work that happens here. I just chatted to a woman who was waiting for her stylist to arrive as I came in to talk to you. So every single day I get the opportunity to see the impact of our work and to meet the women who are being supported by it. And it's an absolute joy. It's an absolute joy. So that's what keeps me going. And I've been very lucky over the last 5 years to always have that. If I'm ever procrastinating on something, if I don't want to write a paper or I don't want to read a paper, I will actively seek out someone from our community, whether it's a volunteer or a client, and go and talk to them about how their day is going. And it's just a reset for sure.
Let's imagine in many years from now, when you look back on your professional life, and I think this is an interesting question, even more so for you, because you have made that transition. But I'm curious, what do you believe you will be most proud of looking back?
That's a big one. I would say the communities that I've been a part of. And I mean that in the richest sense of the word. As I said, I've come from one remarkable community to another remarkable community. And I think to see people from all walks of life and life stages and whatever challenges life has thrown at them, the opportunity to walk alongside them and to do work with them, and to belong to that. I'm no better, I'm no worse than anybody else. I have a different skill set and I bring that to work every day. But to truly see humanity, and to be part of that, I think will be what I'm proud of.
Thank you, Melissa. It's such an honour to be supporting your work. I remind all our listeners that International Women's Day is around the corner now.
Sure is.
We have a big plan for next year. We are running our Shop for Change campaign, where we invite our brands to give back $3 for 3 days from every sale, starting on March 8. And we're also going to be hosting a masterclass with some incredible impact leaders. And so if you'd like to support Dress for Success's work, please come on board, sign up as a brand, begin giving back. We've built all the tools to make it valuable as a retailer or as a business, where you can give back around your invoicing, give back through your online channels. And also we gather the content so you can talk about the impact and tell stories and share stories from those people that your funding has helped make a difference in their lives. And as customers, indeed, this is what we're looking for now. We want to shop and support businesses that are building a better world and giving back to our communities. And so this is becoming a critical and non-negotiable part of what we are beginning to expect from businesses. And so our DNA as an organisation is to empower women and girls, and there's no greater reflection of that than through what Dress for Success is doing for women locally in New South Wales. Melissa, we have one question that's come in. How do you measure the impact of Dress for Success on the lives of the women it supports?
That's a really great question. We need to get better at that. I think that's something that most or our charities are wrestling with at the moment, of how you get the long-term measurement of your impact. We certainly measure how many of the women that we're supported gain employment and how long they retain that employment for, because that's our number one thing, is getting people into employment. There's significant more work to do. The other thing that I haven't spoken about, which is really important to us as well, and I guess when I'm talking to retail brands particularly, is our environmental sustainability. So that's a key piece of thing that we work towards as well. We are very much about saving clothing from landfills. So I had some stats here, actually. Let me just grab them. But last year, we provided 12,290 items of clothing, 1,900 pairs of shoes, and 1,150 handbags to our clients. So I think that's an important impact measurement that we need to have. But in terms of how we measure that ongoing impact for our women, I think we need to do a longitudinal study on that. We're not quite there yet. It's a great question. You should always ask that of charities. Always ask that.
And of course, the metrics on this are complicated because we're talking about people. But it's always great NGOs such as Dress for Success. There's a lot of work being done in this sector around measuring impact and what they call, as you know, the social return on investment.
Absolutely.
So that's always a good question to ask. Yes.
Yeah, and we do measure that, the social return on investment. We measure the, I guess, the cost in terms of the dollar that it requires to support every person, but in terms of the long-term impact of women on women, we've got some additional work to do there. But there are some great academics doing some excellent work in the space too, so I'm quite keen to talk to some of them.
Melissa Collins, thank you, CEO of Dress for Success. It's wonderful to have you share your insights, your wisdom. You've jumped the fence, as it were, into
I
this
have.
sector, and it looks like you've never been happier. Even though I've
I
only
have
just
no
met you.
inclination. Oh, if you speak to my last manager at the bank, he will tell you I am a completely new person to the one who
Right.
left there. So I've no inclination whatsoever to jump back.
And that's a wonderful thing. People move to this sector not for the money, but for the sense of purpose and the sense of giving of their privilege and their time and their smarts and what they've learned. And it's obvious that you have so much to give from your previous role and so much passion to give to this role. Thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who's online.